Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nailed It Sports. My name is Caleb Nail. This is a show where we talk about sports and Jesus. You got sports to talk about. These shows to talk about sports and politics, sports and entertainment. Talk about sports and Jesus here. So we're going to have a good time today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Great thing about podcasts. For me, it's early in the morning, still dark outside. So we have this wonderful patio light that illuminates. I don't know if you really want to see my face or not, but if you do, you can head over to YouTube. Nailed It Sports, NALED It Sports. And my dog is breaking through the fence. Hello, Margie. Oh gosh, she's gonna drool all over me. Oh gosh. Okay. She missed. Okay. Good show for you today. Since I took a break last week, there's just a lot going on in the family and hospital visits and things like that. Everyone's okay, but there's just a lot going on, and that was my excuse for not doing it last week. So sorry about that, but we are here this week, Monday, August 19th, 2024. I want to start the day off with scripture. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. True. And God is faithful. Very true. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Let me read that again. I think that's really good. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. And I also recommend that you go and read what else Paul says around this verse. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. My prayer is that for you guys, that when temptation does come, and it also says in the Bible that temptation does not come from God. He does not tempt. In the book of James, it says the Lord does not tempt people. Okay, so sometimes I even fall into the trap of saying, oh yeah, the Lord's tempted me with this so that I could prove my faith or something to him. No, he doesn't tempt. He may allow things, like in the book of Job. He may allow things to happen to you. But thank goodness he gives us a way out. When you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. It does not say he provide a way out so that you will never be tempted again. It says he will provide a way out so that you can endure it. That is the hardest part in all of this. You are going to be tempted. It will not go away. But the best part about this is that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ went through all these temptations, the same that we do. He conquered them so that when we die and stand before God and are judged, he sees Jesus. There's a way out. And even on earth, as of right now, we can endure the sinful temptations. And just so you know, at the beginning of this verse, just as a small reminder and in some small encouragement, Paul writes, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. So when you are being tempted, You're not alone. We've all been tempted. Reach out to somebody. Okay. Message me on X, Caleb_Nail. I've probably been tempted with those same things. And if I haven't, I guarantee you I know someone that has. I guarantee you know someone that has. But how do we deal with it? Do we fall into temptation? Or do we understand that God is faithful? He will not allow us to be tempted beyond what we can bear, and he will provide a way out so that we can endure it. I think it's a very encouraging verse. That's just one Bible verse. That's so good. But I encourage you to read everything around it. But it's very encouraging, especially in a day that's filled with distractions and an age that is filled with distractions on our cell phones, on our TVs. There's a way out. So I encourage you to find the way that will be provided out of those temptations, to get you out of those temptations so that you can endure it. And I pray that we all will be looking for that and that we have the strength to endure it. All right, a lot going on in the sports world over the past week. But before we get started, quick story. My boy turned 2 yesterday. We had 2 days ago, and we had the birthday party yesterday. And so we thought, my wife and I thought, let's bring piñatas back because we haven't had a piñata in a long time. Really, our age group, like the people in our age group, we don't really have, we're just now having kids. So the kids' birthday parties are starting. So we're going to have piñatas. And I don't know if you know this, but they make piñatas different than they did 20 years ago. They now are socialist piñatas. I don't know how else to put it. How they made this piñata, or all the piñatas in the store when my wife were there, she said they all have strings. I don't know what she was talking about. What are you talking about? Yeah, they have strings that you pull. And you pull a certain string, and it's like this cardboard tab. It opens up, and candy drops out. And the kid that pulls that gets the candy from that tab, right? Some may have none. Some may have some. And some may have more than others. I didn't like that. That takes the fun out of the, what is the piñata for but to beat the crap out of? That's what we do. You don't go up to it and pull a string. This is awful. I also think, there's so much that goes into a piñata that I did not realize until we got this weird piñata, and it was a Baby Yoda piñata. That was indestructible, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. But piñatas teach hand-eye coordination. Got to swing the bat. It teaches you to be aware of your surroundings, because you have to be aware of when to swing when you can swing the bat and when you can't, because people around you. Teaches you balance, because you're going to spin you around a couple times, and when you're dizzy, you got to swing the bat. Then it teaches you how to share, because once you bust it open, right, it's a mad dash for the candy. So toughness, because you got to bang in the paint with the other kids, and quick decision making. Do I want the Reese's or do I want the Starburst? And you got to make quick decisions. All of that goes into piñatas when you are hitting it with a bat. When you pull it with a string, nothing. All you do is pull it, and then you're either happy or sad. And it's on you because you chose the wrong one or the right one, and then you don't have to share. I don't like that. I just do not like that. Bashing piñatas open with a baseball bat or a the end of a rake, that wooden part of a rake, the handle, whatever you use. That's the way to do it. Do not fall into the trap of the new pinatas. But they are indestructible. Here's the kicker. My boy's 2. He wasn't going to bust it open, but we had to let him take a couple whacks at it. So we had a 2-year-old, I think a 5-year-old, and 2 9-year-olds go at it for some time. Nothing. So then we just had to rip it open, right? Rip the bottom of it open. Candy falls out. Have it go everywhere. Then they pick it up. Then myself, my 2 brothers, and my brother-in-law decided to take some whacks at it. And we're not small guys. We all play baseball. We know how to put a good swing into it. We each had to swing like 3 times to get this thing to where we would actually say, oh, it would have busted open and candy would have flown out. It was wild. I think the piñata industry needs to take some advice from the phone industry and these things that don't last. They don't last a long time. They make them so that they crash. So you have to go buy more. Piñata could take some tips from those industries or whoever made this piñata. I should ask my wife where she got it. It was insane. A lot of fun though. A lot of fun. Don't fall into the trap though of these string pulling piñatas. We don't want any more soft kids. People say that my generation is soft. Wait until we have the generation of kids that didn't hit piñatas. They just pulled strings. I'm worried. Okay. Man, that's good coffee. Now we could talk sports. So last week, a bunch of stuff happened in the NFL. Things are amping up. NFL, college football. By the way, I'm a huge college football fan. This year I'm going to be more into the NFL because I'm not doing harvest this year. Because I got a new job. I'm not going to be driving shaker and all these things. So I might actually be able to keep up with everything that's going on. It's kind of sad, but it should be fun. I'm excited, especially now that I'm doing this. It'll be better for everyone. Raiders named a starting quarterback. That's what I want to get to. Gardner Minshew was named the starter over Aiden O'Connell. The battle of the mustaches. Is that the correct way to do it? I'm excited. As a Raiders fan, I'm excited about that. I like Gardner Minshew. I think he offers something that Raiders fans will enjoy. I think he's going to have he's going to take the same risk that Derek Carr took. Now, is he going to be as accurate? Are they going to be calculated risks? Not too sure about that, but Minshew Mania has come to Vegas, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I do think, however, that I thought, we can survive. The Raiders will be able to survive without drafting a quarterback. You got Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. We could survive a year. And that still is the case. But once they named Gardner the starting quarterback, I thought to myself, dang. There was that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. There were a lot of quarterbacks in the draft this past year that I think would bring a lot more excitement to the Raiders other than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Now, that's not to say that these guys can't play ball, because I've seen Gardner Minshew play, and the dude can sling the ball around. And if he has a good year, if the O-line gives him some time, he can be deadly. And if you watched him under Mike Leach. You know. So in a way, yes, I am excited. But the other half of me is thinking, man, there were so many options out there. And, we were fighting over Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. I don't know. I'm happy to have Gardner. And I think he can do well. But when things go south, what are the conversations going to look like? My thoughts. Aaron Judge, fastest 300 career home runs. Took him 955 games. That is I think it was held by Ralph Kiner, one of the guys I know on X put it up. Ralph Kiner held it at 1,000, the record for least amount of games, 1,087. If that's not correct, let me know in the chat on YouTube or X. Comment. But Aaron Judge, fastest to 300 career home runs. Then the guy goes out there, wears his Linden High School cleats and a bat, use it in game. I think that's cool. Like these NFL guys and the NFL rules don't like it. They wear these cleats for warm-ups and then they have to take them off or they get fined. That is ridiculous. MLB guys, I like what they're doing, and not because Aaron Judge is the face of the MLB and a local guy. I'm all about it. I pay attention. Big Judge fan here. But where's the Linden High School cleats and bat? Then the next game, he wears his Fresno State cleats and he's got a Fresno State bat. Thank you, Aaron Judge. Way to represent. The dude's he's an animal, and he's launching balls still. Like, the competitor in me says, yeah, you have to pitch to him. Wouldn't you want to say you struck out Aaron Judge? But the smart game manager in me says, don't you dare throw a pitch to Aaron Judge. If you want to win the game, put him on first base. Don't let him hit a home run. Well, I'll take my risk with him at first. That's the competitor in me. All right, let's talk some college football. And then I want to get to some entertainment stuff. So there's a lot of previews and trailers out there for sports series, shows, docu-series, and things like that I want to get to. But before that, we got to talk about the G5 and the college football playoff. So college football playoff last week came out, said, okay, we will no longer use conference championships in tiebreakers. And I originally read that and thought, wait, what? No, this is terrible. Conference championships don't mean they're not going to mean anything. But no, that's not what it means. College football playoff will no longer use conference championships in tiebreakers because they're already taking the top 5 conference champions. They get the automatic bid. Do I like that? No, I think all conference champions should get in. But Pac-12 ruined that. So it makes sense that the College Football Playoff Committee made this, right? You win the conference, you're in. That is the tiebreaker, basically. We're not using it in tiebreakers, but it is the tiebreaker. I'm curious to see, what's going to happen though is the conversations and arguments that the committee is going to have about what G5 school gets in, because Conference USA is going to have an undefeated Liberty that win it. They won't be. I don't think they'll be undefeated, but a 1 or 2 loss Liberty win Conference USA. Then you have a strong Mountain West. Who wins the Mountain West? Do they get in? The Sun Belt's always tough. Does a Sun Belt winner get in? But already we're going to have to have these conversations. It's going to be tough. But later on, the G5. I don't know if it was the the athletic directors or the commissioners of the conferences. They got together and they're looking into an invitational, end of season tournament for teams that don't make the playoff. So people are saying NIT-esque. It is nothing like the NIT. It would be nothing like the NIT. That's what I would put it like that. The NIT goes to the next best teams that didn't get in, right? So, and there's 64. Well, there's more than 64 now. Well, there's 68 teams, I believe, that get in. The college football playoff does not bring in every school that deserves to be in. And that may be a quote unquote hot take. I don't know, but I don't think so. For college football fans, or excuse me, Power 4 college football fans. Because if you play in Conference USA and you beat everyone in front of you, you may still not get in, right? Because your non-cons may not be that tough that year. So let's just say Liberty goes undefeated. But then Fresno State has one loss, and their one loss is to Michigan. And Michigan goes undefeated that year, this next year. But Fresno State beat Boise in the Mountain West Championship. They beat UCLA, and let's just say UCLA has a surprisingly good year. They probably take a one-loss Mountain West champ over an undefeated Liberty, or an undefeated or a one-loss Sun Belt team over an undefeated Liberty. So that's, in my opinion, Liberty deserves to be in. And maybe they would get an at-large bid, but I doubt it, because that's how college football people are. They're going to put in a 3-loss Texas over a 1-loss Mountain West champ. And let's just say they took the undefeated Liberty. So, do I think the G5 is correct in looking into an invitational for teams that don't make the playoff? Yeah, I do. Because it's way better than the New Mexico Bowl and the Hawaii Bowl. I would much rather play in that than these bowl games. Sorry, bowl games, but no one's going to play in the bowl games anyways. A couple of years ago, Fresno State won the Mountain West, and we got to go play a Pac-12 school in Washington State with Cam Ward was quarterback there, and they had some good defensive pieces and a couple other offensive pieces. Well, guess what? A bunch of the pieces sat out, and we didn't get to play against their best team, and we beat them. But then for the next 2 years, I had to hear that though they sat these people out, that was your Super Bowl. I'm done with that. Let's go play an invitational. Most likely, the best players will still sit out, but let's go play in an invitational. Let's claim a national championship. I'm sick of all not having the opportunity to play for a national championship, but they call us D1. They don't want to play us. Let's just claim the national championship. That's why UCF, you are national champions in my book. We're claiming national championships. This is a tournament that we will just make. And you know what will be fun is that they still have to invite one of our conference champions to compete for this national championship. And then we will also have another national champion. And then we can debate about who's the best, like they did back in the day, back in the BCS era. I'm all about it. More chaos. That's all I want. I just want more chaos. Some quick news. Starting quarterbacks were named. Mountain West teams. Maddox Madsen was named starting quarterback at Boise over Malachi Nelson. All offseason, we had to listen to how Malachi Nelson was going to be this great quarterback in his freshman. He redshirted at USC last year, 5-star. I believe he was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school in the country. Transfers to Boise, didn't win the starting job. And if you listen to Blair Bulldogs, go listen to Blair Bulldogs. Blair Bulldogs is our Fresno State athletics only podcast. We talked about it, and we were on there, and a lot of you guys were in the chat saying, "Look, Maddox is going to win the starting job. Malachi's not going to win it." And we were right. So you would have known first that Maddox Madsen was going to win the starter if you go listen to Blair Bulldogs. Does this change the way people perceive Boise State now? I don't think it does too much. Excuse me. Let me take that back. I don't think it changes the way we, as Mountain West fans, perceive Boise State. We know that they're going to be good still. They're going to have the best running. They had probably the best running back in the country. Ashton Jeanty's insane. Probably top 3, without a doubt. They're going to run the ball well. They're going to play tough defense. Mattson played last year, so he has experience. I think he gave them a better chance to win than Talon Green. So I think Arkansas has got a rude awakening coming unless Talon hasn't improved throwing the ball. But I kind of like Maddox. I think he'll be good for them. He's going to offer them, let me put it this way, he's going to give them the best opportunity to win football games because they're going to run the ball well. And if Maddox can run play action well, they're going to win a lot of games. But I think with Maddox Mattson being named the starter, is going to change Boise's perception in the media, mainstream media, because they like these dual threat quarterbacks. But what gets lost is the amount of snaps quarterbacks take or have taken. I think a lot of people, we see these young quarterbacks, freshman quarterback come in and dominate right away. I'm thinking of Nico in his bowl game, Miller Moss in his bowl game. These young freshmen are great. And especially when they can move, they're great. But once you go up against a competent defense and a smart defensive coach who puts their players in the best places to succeed, that freshman quarterback's going to get eaten alive. But if you have, a sophomore or a redshirt junior that has taken snaps and has played in your system before, knows the coaches, knows the players around you, has a relationship with the offensive line, knows the playbook, and Mattson didn't take too many snaps, but let's just say 50 snaps. That's not a lot, but 50 snaps is more than 0. So I think this is probably the right choice with Mattson being named the starter. I think this gives them the best opportunity to win, and I would be wary of what the media is saying about them choosing him over Malachi Nelson. I've only seen 1 or 2 things, so they may not all say that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Boise. They have some big expectations around them this year, so they got to win right now. The other starter that was named in the Mountain West was Danny O'Neal at San Diego State. So offensive coordinator comes over from Colorado, takes over the head coaching job at San Diego State. And this is going to be interesting because they're going to sling the ball around through the air, not on the ground like they did in the past. They will, because they're still built that way. But the other thing about Danny O'Neal, I just went on this rant about young quarterbacks and their experience. Danny O'Neal doesn't have any experience. He's a freshman. They're going to start a freshman. So we have 2 opposites. I do think San Diego State is going to struggle this year. But this is going to be a completely new San Diego State that we see. Very different play style. And I think it's going to be fun to watch. We've always said, and my co-host on Beware Bulldogs, his name's Caleb as well, he's always said if San Diego State could find a competent quarterback, they would be a very good team. Now, granted, they are going to change their identity completely. But is Danny O'Neal the quarterback that changes things for them? We will find out. Mountain West is going to be really fun this year. I think I'm going to rank what I'd like to do is rank the Mountain West quarterbacks, because there's a couple of pretty good quarterbacks in here. I mean, it kind of reminiscent of the Pac-12 last year. Mikey Keene, Braden Fowler Nicolosi, Shager at Hawaii, Svoboda at Wyoming, Maddox Madsen, Boise. I'm probably leaving out a couple others. Oh, Sluka at UNLV. What happens with him? It's going to be very interesting. A lot of good quarterback play in the Mountain West this year. Okay. I want to talk about sports shows, sports entertainment, put it this way. Sports entertainment that is being made by these big companies like FX and Amazon and Peacock. So there's a docuseries that's being released on Peacock. It's a Hard Knocks style docuseries. It's being released August 29th, so in 10 days. Today's 19th. On Notre Dame. So Notre Dame will be releasing this. NBC has a contract with Notre Dame, so they obviously, this is the one team they're going to do. There's nobody else they're going to do it with. I think this is actually interesting because Notre Dame arguably hasn't played to their up to their standard in a long time. I did just see something that said they're not overrated, because I've been calling them overrated for the past, I don't know how long, my entire life almost. They talk about pride and tradition, right? In college athletics, Notre Dame has a lot of tradition, national championships, Hall of Fame players, college players, NFL players. Hasn't been the same for a long time. I mean, I remember was it Brady Quinn? Was Brady Quinn the quarterback when Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush were there? I just remember that era of the USC Notre Dame, the Bush push games. Those were epic. They've had good teams in between here and there. Manti Te'o's team made the national championship, but everyone knew they were going to get completely smoked. So I still call them overrated. But they're very interesting this year. New quarterback, experienced quarterback, he's going to be good. Their defense is going to be very good. Their O-line is always good. Now, they did have some injuries on their O-line this year, so we'll see how they bounce back from that. But I think Notre Dame could compete this year. And we're going to see early, because they play Texas A&M week 1. Texas A&M is no joke this year. But granted, I would say this is the battle of the overhyped teams. Preseason, Notre Dame and Texas A&M get all the talk. They have all the big recruiting classes, big names, and then they never perform. We'll see what happens. But I like this. I think this would be good for NFL people to watch, to understand what goes into college athletics, because I think there's a disconnect between NFL fans and college football fans. This will bring them all together. I actually like this. Now, the other two that I'm going to talk about, I do not like. Okay, it's called The Money Game on Amazon. The Money Game is about NIL at LSU. So you had, Skeens, Angel Reese, Livy Dunn, who was gymnastics. I think they're doing something on Jane Daniels, and a track star for LSU. They're just talking about NIL. But if you want to know how all this NIL is going, all you have to do is watch the trailer. The first thing, you got to listen to the first line. The very first line on the trailer is Livy Dunn, who she's got a massive following on social media. She says this: hold on. I need to check how I look. Can I see how I look before that we get started? That's the first line of the trailer. And that's probably they chose it just for suckers like me. But that explains to me what NIL is for a lot of these kids and the big stars, especially the women. And it's dangerous. We're worried about how we look in front of them. Yeah, you want to look presentable. I get that. But I think this came from an unhealthy place. Because I have seen posts where Livy Dunn is, she did something with baby Gronk. Sad. That's sad. We all know feel a certain way about baby Gronk's dad and what he puts the kid through. Well, he had him do something with Livy Dunn. Like just photos and things like that and dumb skits, but nothing like terrible. But embarrassing, probably, especially for Livy Dunn. Like we're like selling out for that. We're worried about how we look. And I honestly think, especially the social media and getting paid money like NIL, like these good looking girls are going to be taken advantage of for NIL, like on social media for their value of NIL. I don't like it. And I don't like the mindset behind it. Angel Reese in the trailer, and granted, I haven't seen it, but I don't like this whole, I'll talk about Angel Reese and Jaden Daniels in a second, but it's not good, man. I've heard way more bad stories than good when it comes to NIL. You have to remember, these kids are young. They have no idea. And our public education system does not teach kids how to make money. We don't teach kids how to save money. We don't teach kids anything about money. So when all of a sudden they get into college, they're told they look great, or they're very good at sports, so then they just get handed a bunch of money. There's supposed to be a transaction. I hope there is. But it's going to be tough for these kids. And they're going to be conceited. They're going to worry about their looks. We read about selfish ambition and envy. I think that's going to be at the center of it, of these kids with NIL. I think envy is a huge one. I'm worried. Now, the other side of it is Angel Reese is talking about how she can provide for her family. There is an aspect to it that is good, right? Or provides them this opportunity to move them from one bracket to the next, up in the bracket, in the tax bracket. Because you're going to get taxed more. Don't believe everybody. The more money you make, the more you get taxed. It's just the richer people, the wealthier people don't pay as much taxes because they're smart and they find the loopholes. And everyone can. They're for everyone. But anyways, beside the point. It can provide a way for people to provide for their family. We've got to be smart about it. Then you have Jaden Daniels, and you could just tell the kid is mature. He understood what it was all about. He's about playing football. Right now, that's what it sounded like in the trailer. I haven't watched it, so I'm curious. But it also looked as though he had his parents were speaking in this documentary. That's huge. When kids are making big time money, to have parents that are not manipulative and want the best for you and understand that this is short term for men, especially future NFL athletes. This is short term. We need to get you to the NFL. You're going to make more money. You're going to sign a 10-year contract, and you'll be set for life instead of 1, 2, 3 years in college. Huge difference. There's a huge difference between, the women that are being taken advantage of because of their looks. There's a difference between the kids that don't have support from parents, and the difference is from the kids that know why they're there to make the professional leagues and have parents supporting them and taking care of them in a way of like, okay, we're going to teach you, we're going to financial literacy. We're going to help you save so that when you're done with all this, you're going to have money. Okay. There's a big difference. So it's kind of gross, like when the money game, because I feel like, yeah, the kids are making a lot of money, but it's really hurting them. Still, social media, they're being told things that I just believe aren't true in the real world. And when they get out of college, where's their identity? Is it in Christ? Are they financially literate? Can they take care of money? I do not save. That all goes into what I said, the financial literacy, but are they being taught those things? And then the last one is the new show on FX about Aaron Hernandez. And my question is, why? Why are we making this? Why? And once again, I only saw the trailer, right? These things are coming out. But one, I don't really want to see a show on the life of a murderer. Like, this is the show for 18 to 25-year-old white women, right? This is their crime podcast, whatever they listen to. They listen to all these crime podcasts, right? This is their crime show to go along with their crime podcast that scares them, makes them live in fear, and it's not good for you. And then it kind of makes you feel like we're glorifying Aaron Hernandez as a special, interesting person. No. I pray FX talk to the Hernandez family about this, because this is not glorify the Lord in any way, right? Telling the story of murder in this fashion, right? We can talk about like Paul, for example, in the Bible. He okayed the murder on Christians. He was all about killing Christians. Then he encountered Jesus, he was saved, and then he turned people to Jesus. Right now, I don't know if this show on FX about Aaron Hernandez is this way. I highly doubt it. But that's the only way we could really talk about murder, right? We could use it to change and bring people to Jesus. Talk about, and I'm sure it's going to be portrayed in a way that his lifestyle was scary. There were signs of the things he said in the locker room weren't good. Like the NFL fans, like, we know this stuff. We know Aaron Hernandez. We know how Aaron Hernandez was. We heard the stories. We watched interviews. We know. There's no need for a show. So that's my question, is why? Then the trailer made Aaron Hernandez look like a victim. Made him look like a victim to mental health. Made him look like a victim to poverty. Made him look like a victim to in the locker room, gang violence, things like that. And there are people that are victims to that. I would say, like, the kid that is born into these things, right? You're the true victim of this. Now, there's a way out. Like, I would stay in school, go to church, get involved in church, get involved on the football, basketball team, stay strong. Go back to the verse I read. You're going to be tempted. There are going to be people that tempt you with things. There's a way out. God will provide a way out so that you can endure it. Right? If you're struggling with mental illness, open the Bible. Open the Bible, call a pastor, go to a Christian therapist. Right? Let's start going to church, because there are good churches out there. I know people will say they've been hurt by church. You haven't been hurt by church, you've been hurt by sinners that attend church. That's who you've been hurt by. Jesus does not hurt. Jesus saves. So if you feel like you have a mental illness or you've been diagnosed with anything, I would open the Bible, pray, and then find a church. And it may take you going to a couple different ones. Find some good people in the church. Go out to lunch with them. And you're actually going to have to invite people to go out to lunch. I talk to the pastor. I know a guy at our church. He's new to the faith. He's walking with Jesus now. It's awesome. He wasn't in the past, but he had. You have to take Jesus's hand, right? We've gone out to lunch with him multiple times. Great guy. Love this guy. He's awesome. And he goes up to the pastor, talks to the pastor. He has started going to therapy. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. And you know what? He owns everything. He doesn't say, I'm a victim to this, I'm a victim to that. He has extreme ownership. He has a relationship with Jesus Christ. I think that's awesome. I don't think that this FX show with Aaron Hernandez is good at all. And our culture is backwards. We send women money online for their looks, and what they do online, like on OnlyFans, is terrible. We make shows about murderers and like these horror movies, absolutely terrible. Why would you fill your head with this crap? It's absolutely terrible. I don't know why we do it. I do not support these things. I support good laughs. I support conversations. Like if you're going to have TV on, conversations with the people around you. So I love sporting events. It brings everyone together. It's the ultimate unifier, other than, right after Jesus Christ. It's the ultimate unifier. It's the Earth's kind of earthly unifier, right? It's a shallow unifier. It's a starter. It's the gateway unifier to Jesus, in a sense, right? It's the gateway, right? I say, like, Muscat. It's the gateway wine to reds, because you'd start with Muscat, then you'd go to Chardonnay, then you're going to a lighter red, your Pinots, and then all of a sudden you're drinking cabs, and you can't taste anything after you drink that cab, but for some reason you enjoy it. Anyways, that's sports. It's the gateway unifier, and once we have everybody unified through this earthly unifier of sports, we hit them with the ultimate unifier, and that's Jesus Christ. All right. So today, I pray that we are peacemakers. Pray that you are a peacemaker, and I'm a peacemaker in the office today, or out in the field. And I pray that he brings you the ultimate peace, perfect peace. He does. He brings perfect peace. It's awesome. Let someone know that they are loved. They do not need, it's just selfish ambition and envy, once again, coming up. They do not need money from colleges or likes or comments on X or retweets, whatever it is. They don't need that stuff to know that they are loved. You let them know that we love them. Christ loves them. Appreciate you guys. Pray you have a wonderful week. I hope this was helpful, and I hope it was a good start to your week. Let's go get it done. All right, everybody. God bless. Peace.